Hey Jamaica, welcome to Sports on Rap. This week we're talking about a sport that is not popular in Jamaica, not yet, but it's going to be very soon. Jamaica Rugby League. Talk to Roy Calvert after the break. Hey, welcome back Jamaica. We have with us today Roy Calvert. He's the GM, the General Manager of Jamaica's first professional rugby league team here in Jamaica, the Hurricanes. Roy, welcome to Sports Unwrapped.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Roy, Jamaica, the rugby league has been around for almost 7 years now. Given, we've seen it in high school, we've seen it at the collegiate level, and we're seeing it at there's a club league that goes on in Jamaica. Tell us about the first professional league club league here in Jamaica, the first Jamaica club in Jamaica, and how it came into being.
All right. As you had mentioned, rugby league has been played in the island for over 6 years now. We are sort of like the reggae boys when it comes on to the international stage, in terms of there are players that are based here locally and players who are based in professional leagues in England. We recognize that there has been a gap in terms of skill level, fitness level, and also opportunities that are afforded to players locally. The concept of the Hurricanes basically was conceptualized by myself and Mr. Dean Campbell, who resides in Australia, to say basically if we can provide certain opportunities to our local players here, they'll be able to challenge for more spots in the national team. So basically the idea came about that we have currently 10 high school players who are in the program, and what we do is that these players are on full scholarships, and we sort of remove all hurdles for them to play. So in terms of nutrition, fares to and from training, we have our current kit sponsors are Tsunami, which is sort of ironic with the Hurricanes and Tsunami. They are based in Australia, and we also most of our playing equipment is also sponsored by Vanguard. So that's the concept. What happens is that in the coming season, we're looking at contracting senior players as well. In our budget, I think currently we can manage about 10 senior players. So it's very important to note that the Hurricanes will not be looking to participate in the local league here in Jamaica. Our aim is to participate in the professional league in America in 2013.
Okay, so you're like building a club to go and play overseas.
Yes, because if we are going to be investing a lot in these players here, we want them to be playing at a high level. Not to say that our local league isn't at a certain level, but we want to afford them more opportunities so that when they step up on the international stage, they'll be ready.
As I mentioned, there's a league that goes on here already, which you're the captain of the Duane Park Red Sharks.
Red Sharks, yeah.
Right. Tell me a little bit about that local competition and how it will help to build on what the Hurricanes are doing.
All right, local competition is very useful in terms of most of our matches now are videotaped by amateurs basically. So what Dane does and myself is that go through a lot of these clippings on Facebook or on YouTube or whatever, and we look at specific aspects of players. We look at those players who are big, strong, tall, fast, but we also look at players who seem like they have a certain level of discipline. Because as you know, we are not only into the business of building rugby league players, but building complete human beings, So basically the local game and the fact that the competition is increasing and the level of play is increasing every year, I have said today that it's going to be a problem for us to only have 10 players on contract. So we basically need to look for more sponsorship so that we can actually invite more players into the program.
Yeah, you made a very good point, because over the last few years, Jamaica has been involved in playing in the Atlantic Cup in Jacksonville, Florida, where they were playing against the United States for the Atlantic Cup. And now we see Canada joining in the league. Jamaica actually had their first international win last year by defeating Canada in that competition. When you give the players that kind of exposure to international competition, what you do is create greater interest, and you also create greater levels of skill. Where do you see the Hurricanes concept going in terms of incorporating even more Jamaican players? Do we need more sponsors? Of course, you mentioned that, but do we need even a broader scope in terms of their approach to building clubs here in Jamaica?
Yes, the Hurricanes, I'm sure, is probably the first of many, because as we have been, this year is a big year for us for Rugby League in Jamaica because it's a World Cup qualifying year. And we are confident that when we qualify, you will have more entities wanting to set up a program like the Hurricanes here in Jamaica. So the Hurricanes is the first of its kind, but I'm sure it will be the last. Week in, week out, we get to play against a local competition. So for some of the times when we step up to the international level, we are that 1 or 2 steps off the pace. So with the Hurricanes playing against clubs, professional clubs in America and probably Canadian clubs, we will definitely be on par or above them when it comes down to the international matches.
You are one of a couple of people who are leaving the island shortly.
Yes.
So to go to, is it the United Kingdom?
Yes, Brunel University.
Right, for a coaching course.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what you'll be learning there and how will that help when you come back to Jamaica?
All right, the case is for players to develop, we need qualified coaches. The course that myself and Mr. Monteith and Mr. Ventley Brown will be going on is basically a train the trainers course. Both Rome and myself are already level 1 qualified coaches with the Rugby League Federation. This will be our level 2. The idea is once we basically are qualified, we can certify our local coaches to go into the schools, to go into the universities, and hopefully develop some more clubs in Jamaica. Because many people are afraid, or I said, not really afraid, they are hesitant to get involved because they don't really understand what goes on into managing a club. So yes, it's a coaching course, but I think it also assists you in terms of people management, administration and stuff like that.
As general manager of the Rugby League, give us an example. And as GM of the Hurricanes, what is it that you do?
What I do, all right, I'm also the head coach, right?
Head cook and bottle wash.
Yes, I'm also the head coach. So basically, on a typical Saturday morning, we meet up at 10 o'clock. I put the guys through their paces for an hour and a half, then we sit down for about half an hour, and we have a talk about the sport and life in general. There's a set program that I'm going through from December, we'll be finishing in May of this year. And that program was developed by Mr. Campbell in Australia, and it's a program that is aligned to best practices, and it's also followed by the most professional clubs in Australia. These guys are also given personal exercise sheets, you know, that these are things that they should do on a daily basis. But to give you an example, we have players here that when they started the program in December, you know, bicep measurement was probably about 13 centimeters or 13 inches. And now that same guy, bicep is 15, you know, and this guy is still under 19. So it shows that if we can provide, you know, the opportunity and the necessary tools to these players, development will come easily. So
basically that's what you oversee in terms of the Hurricanes. One final question before we wrap up for today. Robert Monteith has done an amazing job as the Rugby League development officer in this country. He has started a school league, collegiate league, and of course he monitors and oversees the league, the local league that runs here. How quickly do you think Rugby League will get traction in Jamaica to the point where we'll see a mass influx of talent coming in? Because everybody identifies talent as here because we're physically capable, we have the speed, we have the size. How quickly do you think the sport will begin to gain real traction in Jamaica?
I'm looking at the next 2 to 3 years before I think we're really going to be into the mainstream. And I think the important thing that has been done is to get it in high schools and the colleges. Because Intercal right now, there's an argument going on that the rivalry in Intercal is higher than in our senior league. You know, between UWI, UTEC, GC Foster and Michael. And you know that Portmore Community College is also interested in playing. So I think that we have laid the foundation, you know, for real growth within the next 2 to 3 years.
So big things for Rugby League in the very near future.
Big things.
Right, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
Cool. Yeah. When we come back, we wrap up and give you the sports fact of the week. And it involves Roy here. That's it for this week, folks. But of course, remember you can catch Sports on Rap by going onto the Gleaner website, JamaicaGleaner.com, and clicking on the Sports on Rap logo, and you'll see the show there. Of course, send us your emails at sportsonrap@gleanerjm.com, and you can catch my blogs at gleanerblogs.com. But before we go, we have to give you the sports fact of the week. Jamaica Rugby League, as you've heard, is only 7 years old here in Jamaica. and we've been playing international rugby board just for a few years, maybe 3 or 4 years now. Roy Calvert here is Jamaica's very first rugby league captain to have captained the national squad. So Roy is part of rugby league history, whether he likes it or not. Until next week, this is Leighton Levy saying goodbye and be a good sport.